Your Majesty, we are at a grave moment in the history of our nation. Parliament has voted against the people of the country by making a law to prevent our government from leaving the European Union. It has voted to extend our membership and place the power to determine for how long entirely in the hands of that foreign power. We live in a parliamentary democracy, but those who are elected to our parliament are elected to power by us, the ultimate sovereign power, the people. Those parliamentarians chose to refer the decision about whether or not to leave the European Union to us. We decided in 2016 to leave. Parliament has no common right to overturn our decision. Some claim that our vote was merely advisory, but this is untrue. The words advisory and advise do not appear in the enabling act of Parliament at all. The word advice only appears to advise you to enact it, which you did. And despite the advice of all the major organs of government, international institutions, all the major political parties bar one, and the majority of the broadcast media, with their dire predictions of financial consequences then and ever since, we decided to leave. In 1,000 years of history, during which power has passed from the ancient kings to the people, one simple democratic principle has remained clear and inviolable, without very serious ramifications. The voting people's decisions must be respected and enacted. No reversal of a decision can be exercised until after such a decision has been implemented, or the democratic compact breaks down. There are good reasons why it's unwise, except in extreme circumstances, for the sovereign to intervene in political issues. However, in this circumstance, you already have. By enacting the law that makes it possible to tie the hands of government in negotiations with the EU, and therefore prevent us from leaving, you have in effect acted to overrule the people in favour of Parliament. The Royalists among us would very sincerely hope that this was not a deliberate act to overturn our democratic decision, but was driven by other motives. But if we are to avoid disaster, then we the people need you to act again. Because, as we know from hundreds of years of global history, if people are denied the ability to resolve fundamental questions with their vote, the alternative is a slide into unrest, violence, even civil war. Parliamentarians have broken the commitments upon which they were elected. They voted to trigger our leaving the EU, knowing full well that unless the EU agree to withdraw terms acceptable to Parliament, we leave without a deal. They were then overwhelmingly elected on manifesto promises to deliver that result. They have sat in Parliament only on the basis of that unambiguous commitment. As you will know, there are precedents for the action we now ask you to take. For example, you could act as advised by A.V. Dicey in his book, The Study of the Law of the Constitution, in which he states, "The discretionary power of the Crown occasionally may be, and according to constitutional precedents, sometimes ought to be, used to strip an existing House of Commons of its authority." He goes on, "A dissolution is allowable or necessary whenever the wishes of the legislature are, or may fairly presume to be, different from the wishes of the nation." He goes on to cite precedents from 1784 and 1834. At the heart of this is the question of who you choose to side with, a parliament that has broken its pledges, or the people. Your actions now can convince us that you are with us.